I started quilting on the island of Molokai. I had a tutu. A tutu is like a grandmother. They sort of adopted us, and she taught me Hawaiian quilting. And then when I moved to Honolulu in 76, my niece was born in 75, let me digress. And so I had to make her a quilt. And I did applique on gingham. And I was stressing because the gingham had to be straight. I mean, I had to have that seam down those little tracks. But then I started finding out there was more to quilting than just Hawaiian quilting and what I was doing. So I joined the Hawaiian Quilt Guild, and I took off from there. When I'm buying fabric, I think of what can I use it for. And you need things that have mottled texture to it. You have things that have a different depth to it. So many things you got to think about when you're quilting. The weight of the fabric, you want the fabric to be the same weight throughout. You want it to be good quality fabric. You're not going to put hours and hours and hours into something and wash it the first time and have it fall apart. So when you're designing something, you need to have all that variety. It's like having a variety in the scale of the print. A quilt wouldn't be interesting if it had all large-scale prints in it. You need a small scale, a medium scale, and a large scale print. You need something to spark it. Well, even the one block wonder, if somebody bought the exact same fabric, they could never duplicate this quilt because it depends upon where you get that first repeat. Mm-hmm. So, and then how big you cut it and where do you start cutting. So it's going to change. I got my long arm when we moved here, and I'm on my second long arm because my first long arm wasn't very good. Learned by experience. Now my long arm is a 12-foot long table, and the machine moves on it, and I have a 24-inch throat. Your normal sewing machine might have anywhere from 7 to 10 inches. You can have either a regulated stitch or a non-regulated stitch. Now a regulated stitch, because on a long arm there are no feed dogs. The feed dog is what moves the fabric through the machine. But there is a computer mechanism in there that if you set it to regulation and you're moving the machine, because this time you're moving the machine, not the quilt. As you're moving it, if you've got it unregulated, it's going to make the stitches identical all the way through. If you have it non-regulated, it's like, did you ever drive a standard shift car? Having the clutch and the gas pedal is like you're moving your quilt and you've got your speed going together. So with a long arm, you don't have to baste your quilt first, because if you have a big quilt, you're putting it on the floor, you're putting your backing down, you're putting your batting down the top, and you're pinning it all over the place. On a long arm, you load your backing fabric on, face down, then you put it onto the rolls and you roll it up and you roll it back and you roll it up so it's nice and straight and square. So it's coming through together and it keeps the tautness there. Could be looking at Pinterest, that's a real good spot. It could just be seeing something maybe in a magazine and thinking, oh, that would make a good quilt. Or I've been to Europe the past 5-6 years, and I love looking at the floors and the doors because you can get so many ideas for something from there. I think it's a journey. It's a journey and you've got to enjoy it. Some people say, oh, I could never do that. Well, you don't know unless you try. I sew almost every day. I might just be making one of my little 3.5-inch squares, but I'm sewing because it feeds my soul and it's who I am.